Welcome back. It is 1624, and last year, unfortunately, we did lose William, which is heartbreaking, really. And with that, we lost the last boy in the De Mohun family. So that means that we're not going to have any more De Mohuns left at the end of this. But anyway, that's besides the point. We will still have a couple Larkins so far. But anyway, what else happened? Peter the second came to America. Um, Humphrey and Demeita gotten into an arranged marriage. Oh, Ismay and Martin started being romantic. So a lot going on, but let's roll here. So first we have Ezekiel Hobart can't get a 12, 16, or 18 in order to become an infant. He succeeds on that. Deborah Hobart can't get a 4, 8, or a 17. Ooh, Deborah. Muriel Larkin can't get a 13 or a 19. Don't do this to me, Muriel. Okay, she survived. Elliot Waldrick can't get a 7 or a 14. He survived. And will he marry? No 1 through 6. Will he have children? No 10. 7 kids for Elliot Waldrick. Although here's the thing, too. I don't know if I should even be rolling for this, because they're all going to marry each other. You know? They're all going to marry each other. So, I don't know. Is it even worth it? Although a lot of them have 7s. So, the dog is crying because she wants me to pay attention to her. I'm sorry, I'll pay attention to you in a second. Okay, I'll pet you right now. You're right. I don't know. We'll have to see. They are all getting very high numbers, but we'll see if we re-roll for them once they get married. We didn't have to do that with Odalina because I didn't have a number for Wyman. Anyway, Martin Dubois is becoming a young adult. No 3, 9, or 20. Oh my gosh, Martin. Martin. I had plans for you, Martin. Oh my goodness. Well. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, Martin just died. This is why I shouldn't plan too far ahead, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to die and then leave your plans up in smoke. Anyway, okay, let's hop into the game. All right, so here we are in our household. Again, Margaret doing the majority of the chores, trying to, work through that. Ismay doing the bare minimum. Apparently there are cats and dogs everywhere for the pet adoption drive. But Sophronia apparently tried to show up, but let's say she didn't, because I don't want her to come here. You can't just come here. Maybe we'll go and visit her someday. Like we'll go visit her before she dies. She's still got like 20 years left living. So first things first, we do have to figure out what we're going to do with Martin. So here's what we're going to do. We have Ismay and Martin have been working together for quite some time in order to steal from other people, kind of con other people. They have been doing some bad things together and splitting the profits. Of course, Martin has been taking more of Ismay's, like more of the cut than Ismay, because she isn't actually like doing the work for it. So she's just helping him by giving him money and stuff, and she's in love with him. So she's falling for some of his schemes, even though she should be smarter than that. And so they have also stolen from like the church and stuff, which is a big no-no. And they just autonomously are woohooing, but I will go with it because I was having him and Demeita flirt. So him and Demeita are having this like secret rendezvous, and Ismay catches them, and she is not happy about it, right? So Demeita is actually engaged to was it Humphrey? I think it was Humphrey. Demeita is engaged to Humphrey, but she's messing around with Martin. So that's Humphrey's brother, which is not cool. And so the two of them, they're not good people. They're just doing whatever they want. And Ismay catches them, and now she's furious because she really thought she was in love with Martin. and really thought that they were doing all this together and like partners in crime and all of that stuff. And so she is furious that now she realizes that he was just using her for her money and to keep her mouth shut, and he's really just messing around with whoever he wants. You can see that he is just apparently going to continue to woohoo with Deita. So obviously Ismay is infuriated by that, and she's an evil sim, so she's going to get her revenge 100%. So let's just not control that sim. Although Deita, maybe I feel they definitely saw her. So Deita's come here to kind of be like, hey, like, you know, can you not tell anyone? And she's like, get out of my house. And Martin comes and he's like, Ismay, you don't understand. And she's like, oh, I understand. I understand. And she's furious. She's going to yell at him. She is not happy about, you know, what he's done, obviously. Of course, he keeps trying to run away. But she is going to let him have it. She's going to let him know that she is not happy, that she is furious that he had the audacity to try and, you know, con her, to scam her when she was the one who was helping him, and that he's going to regret it. And she is actually really sad about it, which is really something. You know, she's furious, but she's also heartbroken. So she's really sad that he would do this to her, because she thought that they were like two peas in a pod. She thought they were very like-minded. And so when she sees Wymond doing his rounds around for like security with the guard, she comes and talks to him because he is also like the leader of our community. And she's going to basically tell him about Martin stealing from the church, which is a huge, huge no-no. Definitely a problem. It's not just stealing from anybody in particular, but stealing from the church is considered, you know, horrible. And so she never got her hands dirty, so she can't get in trouble for anything, but she wants to get Martin in trouble because she is furious that he did this to her, and she is ready to go scorched earth. She's ready to get him executed. So she is going to tell Wymond about everything, about how he's a thief, about how she saw him stealing from the church, and about how she is, you know, was really nervous to say anything because she wasn't, you know, she's trying to play nice, like, oh, I wasn't sure exactly what I saw, but I feel like it's my duty to say something, and blah, blah, blah. So Wymond's, of course, like, I'll look into it, don't worry, like, I'll make sure, you know, I know that it's really hard to come to me and tell me about this because you and Martin are friends, but obviously, you know, you're doing the right thing by our community and blah, blah, blah. So that is what's going on here. Ismay is getting her revenge by basically outing Martin and his crimes. And so she's actually not mentioning Deita right now, and you'll see why in a little bit, but she is not going to mention the whole thing because honestly, like, having an affair, yeah, can get you in trouble. They're both like single young people. Like, I mean, technically Deita's not married yet, so they would probably just be made to get married, and that would be the consequence, you know. So she wants more of a consequence for him. So Martin comes over, and Wymond and him are arguing, are talking to each other about it. Wymond's like, you know, what did you do? What did you take? Like, he's having people from the guard go search Martin's room right now, and Martin's like, you know, realizes that he stepped in it because he has no proof that he didn't do anything, and they're going to find stuff in his room. And so he's like, oh no, and he like tries to throw Ismay under the bus, but she is just not, like, obviously it just looks like retaliation at that point. It doesn't look like she did anything. And also I'm trying to find which stocks are the right stocks because none of these actually work, so I have to go find them. But basically, you know, he's like, okay, well, you're, you know, why Martin is going to go in the stocks while the community decides what exactly is going to happen with him. So here he is. I really wanted to use this a lot because it, you know, it's a good way of like kind of showing like the consequences of people's actions, being humiliated in front of the community, and then, you know, we're actually going to execute Martin, but only because he rolled to die this year. If he didn't roll to die this year, I would have just banished him or something, but he rolled to die, so he's going to get executed for stealing from the church, which is a big problem. So here he goes. And unfortunately, he didn't do any of the animation to die, so that's fine. So he is now dead. Martin has passed, and Ismay is feeling good about herself because she feels like she got her revenge. But her revenge is, of course, not over. We'll come back to that in a moment. But for right now, we are going to go over here and have Christina and Peter become engaged. And actually, I probably shouldn't have moved them in together. I think I thought from my notes that I was marrying them this year, and then I realized that their birthdays aren't until next year. so let's just pretend it's fine. But basically, Christina and Peter, who are friends, who have reunited after a long time now that Peter has moved here and has, come to this community. And Christina's really excited because there really are not very many eligible bachelors in this area, especially because most of them are her brothers. So let's not freeze to death. But yeah, so her and Peter are reconnecting, and she obviously sees this as an opportunity to get married and be with someone who she knows she gets along with, and she doesn't just have to marry whoever is available from her community, even though he kind of is whoever's available, but that's fine. And like the two of them are cute together because he's a music lover and she's a, she loves the outdoors and she's neat. She's like a really good wife. Like she's a really good choice out of all of the women that we have moved to America. She is like the best suited based on her skills for this. And so of course Wyman is going to try and chaperone these two, although they've already gone too far by kissing. And so he's like, "You're getting married, right?" And they're like, yes, we're getting married. Don't worry about it. We're getting married. We promise we won't do anything until marriage. It was just a smooch. So they are engaged and they're going to get married next year when they have their birthdays. So they are going to get married. But yes, Wyman's like, you guys, you're not married yet. So next, we are going to head over to see Bertram, and Bertram is going to take the boys, Solomon and Bernard, and take them to go over to see the, what's their last name? I don't know any. Oh, the Metacomet family. Yes. Okay, so we're going to go over to the Metacomet family, and they have horses, right? And keep in mind, Solomon and Bernard are both horse lovers. So I was like, okay, so Bertram's going to take them over here under the, pretense of showing the boys the horses, and because of that, he's also going to get to see Highway, which is obviously his real reason for coming here. But on the flip side, both Bernard and Solomon are really excited to see the horses and to meet the horses and to get to ride horses for the first time. So they're both really excited about that. I wanted to also focus, I want to make sure that every sim kind of gets their due. So because these two are, big horse lovers, that they really want to get to see the horses. Now, it's my understanding that horses are not native to America. So, I guess they must have been traded. I think I heard somewhere that I don't know, Columbus or someone brought over a bunch of horses, and then the Spanish. I don't know. Anyway, a bunch of horses were brought here to Northern America, and then were like got loose, and a few of them got loose, and then the Native Americans, caught some horses and, had their own horses. So everybody had horses by now, even though they're not native to this land. But anyway, that's my understanding of it. But I'm probably wrong because I didn't do any research. Someone just told me that. So we'll see. Anyway. Obviously, Bertram is here to see Highway. The two of them have already gotten flirty in the past, and they are getting flirtier even now. So they are both definitely into each other. Now, I know we said, I'm still not exactly sure how I want to play the racism stuff. I'm really not sure. But for right now, we're going to say that these two communities, while they tolerate each other and they help each other, which is what they did at the time, they didn't really want to mix in that way. They didn't want to marry each other. So I was trying to do some research, and there were marriages, obviously, that happened between Native Americans and the colonists, but they were kind of treated as not outcasts, but like they weren't really allowed to be a big part of the community in the same way that they would have been if they had married someone from their own community. So while we have Bertram and Highway getting engaged right now and woohooing autonomously in front of her family, which I'm sure did not endear him to them. Like, why would they like you when they just saw that? I'm sure that they did not like him for that. So the two of them have just gotten engaged, but they are going to have some struggles with getting both communities to kind of sign on to them being able to be together. And you know what? In the end, they might have to move away and kind of have their own place outside of, kind of on the outskirts. But they're in love and they got along so well, and their bars got up so high so quickly. And so I just really feel like those two are meant to be together, and they anonymously wooed. Luckily she has 8 Sims in her house already. She cannot get pregnant, but they already autonomously woohooed, and then she proposed to him, and so we're accepting. We're doing this. So those two are going to be together, but they will face some hardships, and so that's how I'm going to play it for right now. Again, let me know what you think. I just don't know. Like, I don't want to be insensitive to anyone, and we're already so historically inaccurate that we can kind of do whatever we want, but I also don't want to ignore certain issues either. It's kind of a weird, you know, balancing act. I'm not really sure how I want to do it, but anyway, those two are obviously made for each other, and we are going to play with interracial marriages. So, but there just might be some societal consequences for them for that. So, anyway, the kids are playing right now. After I go on that long rant, the kids are playing right now. And so, actually, little Selah has a big crush on Solomon. Even though the boys in the Selah and Margaret are like kind of close in age. They're a few years apart, but obviously because they're teens and they're kids, they look very different. But they're only a few years apart, and so Selah has a big crush on Solomon and really wants to get close to him and wants to spend a lot of time with him. And obviously, he just wants to spend time with Bernard because Bernard is his bestie. Like, they're best friends. They're hanging out there. They love horses, like, But they're not really thinking about girls. So, but Selah is thinking about Solomon. So that is what's going on there. And then here we finally have the consequences for Deita. So Deita did not get outed as having an affair with Martin by Ismay. And so she thinks she's in the clear because she asked Ismay not to say anything, and Ismay didn't say anything. But that is not the case. So Ismay is actually going to come and talk to Deita and be like, look, here's what's going to happen. You're going to give me money to keep my mouth shut. Or I can tell everyone, and you're going to lose your engagement to Humphrey, because obviously Humphrey is not going to be okay with the fact that his fiance had, a relationship with his brother that, had 2 woohoos involved. So he is not going to be okay with that. So she's like, you can save your engagement and you can save the rest of your life because no one's going to want to marry you. Or you can, and you can give me money. So basically that's what happens. She blackmails Deita, and Deita has to give her the money in order to do that. So that's what happened with poor Deita. Although I don't really feel that bad for her because you did do it. You cheated on your fiance. So those are the consequences. Next, we are going to head back to our main household. And we are going to come over here and have Margaret be trying to teach Muriel about the chores. So Muriel is aging up into a child. She aged up early, like all my Sims are doing for some reason. But she aged up into a child, and so now she is having to get involved in the chores and stuff. Now, they are, we know that Muriel has aged up to be evil, but her and Margaret actually have a pretty good relationship right now. So Margaret's trying to teach Muriel about the chores, but Muriel doesn't really want to do chores. She wants to be a kid. She wants to have fun. Like, why isn't her mom doing this? But that's just the way it is. So Margaret is trying to get some help. Like, she's excited that Muriel aged up because she's like, oh, Muriel aged up. Now I can get some help with the chores. But that is kind of not the case. Muriel is kind of dragging her feet. She's not being super helpful or anything. And so then Ismay is like kind of coming around, noticing that the chores aren't getting done very quickly. And she says to Muriel, like, what's the deal? Like, what's the problem here? Because obviously she doesn't have the relationship with Margaret where she can go up to Margaret and be like, she would just yell at Margaret. And so Muriel, of course, trying to save her own butt, is going to just say like, oh, Margaret's not pulling her weight. And because she's evil, she says that. And then also, like, keep in mind that this is a very toxic family environment. So like Muriel, while she is, kind of doing the same actions as her mother, like in being evil, like, she's probably just scared to tell Ismay that she's slacking because she knows how Ismay treats Margaret, and she doesn't want to be treated that way. And so she's rather throw Margaret under the bus than be treated that way herself, which obviously is not fair to Margaret, but like is a logical conclusion that a child would come to in a toxic situation like this, where she knows that Ismay is not going to be kind to her because she is her daughter or anything. She knows that Ismay will treat her exactly how she treats Margaret if she gets on her bad side. And so that's what happens. She tells Ismay that it was Margaret who's not pulling her weight. And so, of course, poor Margaret gets yelled at by Ismay, and she doesn't really understand what is going on. She does not understand why Ismay is yelling at her. And so she just like is kind of right now at the very beginning cutting Muriel some slack. She's like, yeah, Muriel is a little bit slower at this because she is new to it. She has not learned anything about it yet. Like, she's just learning how to do the chores. So it makes sense that maybe it wouldn't be happening as quickly as they'd hoped, especially with Margaret taking the time out to to spend that time and teach her, because then it takes a little longer. So that's tough for poor Margaret. So anyway, it's also Christmas, so we're just going to have a grand meal really quick. We're just going to keep it among the family because, the year is wrapping up, and also, we have a lot going on. So let's just say we're having Christmas, we're enjoying Christmas. Everybody is having their grand meal, being thankful. Father Winter came, even though I don't think they believed in Santa Claus back then. I'm sure they didn't, because Christmas would have been a more religious holiday than it currently is. And so, yeah, everyone's just having their good time. We're going to join some of the clubs for Muriel. Then we're going to do some of the birthday stuff. So what we have for birthdays is Ezekiel Hobart becoming an infant, Deborah Hobart passing away, Muriel Larkin becoming a child, Elliot Waldrick becoming a teenager, and Martin Dubois passing away. So those are all of our birthdays for the year. And then we also have, I believe, we have one more baby being born to Odalina. Yes, so Isaac Hobart is born this year as well. He does survive for his first role. I'm going to kind of change her pregnancy schedule so that she gives birth a little bit earlier in the year, because I don't like that she keeps giving birth at the very end of the year, because I don't want to, I want you guys to be able to see that. I don't want to have to keep like triggering it, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm ready to be done with this year. I know she's going to give birth in the before the year is over, but anyway, so there we go. New baby. They're still working. They have plenty of baby rolls. And so that will be that. So that's the end of this year. We are halfway through the decade, which is really exciting. And you guys have to let me know how you think it's going now that we're living here, how you like this style of like playing with different households and stuff, and kind of filling out the whole world in a way. And then also, yeah. So that is all I have to say about that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, I tripped over my words there. And then let's see, what's going on next year? Do we have any? Oh, yeah. Abigail, Priscilla, and Abraham in our family all are aging up next year. So we'll have a bunch of birthdays in our main household next year for the toddlers. So finally, right? Because we'll only have one toddler left after next year. I'm really tired of having so many toddlers. So let's do that. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.